All right, Jason, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing pretty well. Why don't you just quickly intro yourself, who you are, what you do, where you're from?
Sure. My name's Jason Moss, and I'm a mixer out here in Los Angeles in California. I also run an online education company called Behind the Speakers, where we help home studio music makers learn how to mix their records so that they sound professional.
Awesome, man. Cool. And tell me a little bit about kind of why you reached out. You already had this business that was doing well, the blog, the education company. What prompted you to reach out and hire me to help you with things? What did that look like?
Sure. So, thinking back to when we first spoke, it's been a while since then, and a lot has changed. I had spent the last 3-4 years building Behind the Speakers, and I came into this whole world as a mixing engineer, was doing lots of client work, signed with a manager out in New York. And that was really what launched my mixing career. Things were going well there. When I started transitioning into running the business and teaching online over the course of several years, that became my main focus. So I was doing less and less client work. And as that business continued to grow, focusing more of my attention there. Now, the business itself was doing really well, but I was really missing working with clients on the mixing side. And because so much of my focus and attention was spent on building Behind the Speakers, things really started to, I just wasn't, we weren't enough clients coming in the door. Like there wasn't really any focus paid attention there. So I think the reason why I reached out to you was because after a few years of focusing on Behind the Speakers, I felt like I was looking for a way to start transitioning back to working on the mixing side of things more. But I didn't really have a foundation, some strategies, I didn't have a strong game plan in terms of how I was going to do that. And I was looking for some help and some guidance and some resources from somebody who had a proven system and a framework and knew how to make this happen and could do it a lot faster than I could on my own. So that's why I reached out to you.
Awesome, man. Cool. And we've worked together for 4, 5, 6 months, something like that by now. What have you been able to do as far as the mixing work? What does that look like now?
So a lot has changed over the course of the last few months. And there have been many things that you've shared with me that have really changed the game for me. I think one of those things in particular was really providing me with a solid sales framework, because I didn't really have an idea or a solid idea looking back of how to take mixing clients, leads that were coming in, people who wanted to work with me, and take them through a process where we could get on the phone and I could really start to unpack and understand where they were at and where they wanted to go and how I was going to help them get there. It sounds simple in retrospect, but there's so much nuance to the way that you share that system and the way that it works. And that was a total game changer for me. It's resulted in a lot more mix work. I mean, I've made so much money off of that sales process alone, because it's not only something that I apply in all of the mixing conversations that I have with every new client, and it's certainly resulted in people doing more business with me, but it's also something that I'm applying in Behind the Speakers. And between the two, I mean, in terms of the investment for this program, just in a few months, I've probably made back, I won't say probably, I've made back, I would say around 10x what I invested just from that one piece alone. And that was just one of many, many of the things that you shared with me. Other things that I think have made a real impact, getting really clear on who it is that I'm working with and my ideal client, and changing the messaging and the positioning of my website and working with you on that really helps me stand out today and not just be another generic mixer, but understanding that I could be working with not just any clients, but my ideal clients, and that I could craft a website and position myself in a way that would appeal to them has really changed the game for me. And I'm noticing that the people who are reaching out to me and the people that I'm having conversations with are people that are right in line with those ideal clients for me, the people that I love working with, and the people who just, it's like when you work with clients like those, you wake up and it doesn't even feel like work. It's just like, man, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to work on client work from clients like this. So I think that for me, that was a big game changer too. And that really changed the game. It really transformed things for me. So those two things in particular, and then just your guidance and support along the way. Like, there were so many things like that I was missing and overlooking, so many areas of opportunity that I feel like you pointed out, things that made mistakes that I was making, and just things that I was like, without your help, that I don't think I would have caught, and massive opportunities of thousands and thousands of dollars worth of work that were just being left on the table because I just wasn't approaching things in the right way. All of those things, I think, were really game changers for me, with a direct result of working together.
Damn, you sure someone isn't holding you hostage over there?
No, I mean,
Is one of my
I know that
dudes over there holding you hostage? That was great. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad it's like a good testimonial, but the truth is, like, the bottom line is, it's actually like, this program has really delivered for me. And so, so I have no problem sharing honestly about like what the impact has been.
And maybe just to throw something in, what was your, I guess, biggest fear about starting? Because I think our story kind of started out sort of funny. We started fighting.
Well, look, coming into our our first conversation, like, I had already built a 6-figure music company.
Right.
And I think that I knew a lot about internet marketing and kind of understood a lot of things. So I wasn't like this green, like, and I'm a pretty smart guy. Like, that's just where things were at. I think, looking back, coming into our conversation, even though I really needed help, I had kind of a chip on my shoulder and felt like I wasn't convinced or wasn't sure that what you were going to be able to provide me was anything that I didn't already know. I think that was kind of my mindset. And so after our initial call, I remember sending you an email and saying something to the effect of like, here's why your strategy is not going to work. And you called me on it, and rightfully so. So I think I had some fear coming into the program, just based on my own background and experience. Now, looking back on that, I think this was definitely one of the best investments on the business side that I've made in a really long time. And I'm super grateful that I made it, especially because I was kind of uncertain about it coming into the situation. So if I had to look back and like talk to me based on that position that I was in, I would say it's totally normal to feel uncertain about stepping into something new. And I definitely had some fear. And I think anyone would have some fear about making an investment like this. It's certainly, it's not a $50 online course, right? It's like a real investment. So at the same time, just based on my experience, the ROI has been so far above what I invested that I think it's a no-brainer. It certainly was for me, and I think it would be for anyone else in my position.
And to be fair, my sales pitch was basically along the lines of, well, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, it was a little different and weird for me. I mean, you do have a proven framework and a system that you're providing people. At the same time, I think everybody's situation is slightly different. And one of the great things about working with you has been that the combination of, you have these pre-recorded materials and this course portal, this membership portal with many of the common pitfalls that people are going to run to. And at the same time, it's customized and interactive, and it's built around the individual person that's going through this. So for me, there were some specific things that we needed to look at, like how do we leverage behind the speakers? Because I had this audience over there, and how can we be generating mixing clients from that? And like being able to work with you on those things, obviously that's a unique situation that not everybody else is going to be in. But knowing that it's not just like an online course where you're getting like spoon-fed the same material as everybody else, I think being able to talk to you and work through some of those things and have it really be built around me made a big difference for sure.
Oh man. Well, hey, appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you got to hop off, but thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Sure. Take care, Dan. Thanks again.